rushed home from work Thursday night and showered and changed for a Met game at 7 p.m. I started driving to Citi Field when I got a phone call. My buddy Paul said he was walking his customer's dog today over in Forest Hills when he saw a film crew by a restaurant. He went over to check it out and they were filming Gordon Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares. They were at this restaurant because it was struggling and asked for Ramsay's help to become successful. Paul's a big fan of the show and Ramsay, and handed the producer his business card. If Ramsay needed guests at the restaurant that night for the dinner scene, he was available. Well, 10 minutes ago, the producer called and said he had a table for 2 open. Could Paul come? Sure. He asked my wife if she wanted to come, and she yelled, yeah. She was so excited, practically bouncing around the house. So while I'm at the game, I get a text message. It was from my wife. It said, Gordon kissed me twice. What? Well, it turns out when Barbara and Paul got to the restaurant, there was a line outside. They brought in each table individually, so it looked good on camera. When Barbara and Paul were brought in, Ramsay immediately went over to their table, shook Paul's hand, and kissed my wife on both cheeks like in France. Paul said she turned bright red, and then Ramsay held her hand and told her she looked a lot like his wife. Ramsay was chit-chatting with them, and Paul said the other tables were all watching, especially the women. He said the other women were checking their makeup in the mirrors at the table, and my wife just had a ponytail. When Ramsay walked by later, he tugged on her ponytail. This guy's some flirt. Well, they sat there and waited some more. The restaurant is in trouble for a reason. They have some bad service. Ramsay had already fired the chef earlier that day, and the bartender couldn't understand Ramsay's simple demand. You have an amazing array of beers. Pass out small samples for free so people can try them. When Ramsay yelled at him for not doing this, the bartender started giving out full glasses of beer for free. Barbara and Paul never got to order drinks or appetizers because the waiter kind of ignored them. Finally, Ramsay would come by and ask them how they were doing. When he heard how bad their service was, he demanded they be served now. They got drinks and appetizers, but after 3.5 hours, no dinner. People there half the time were already finishing up their dinners while Barbara and Paul were still waiting. It was 9:30 and they had been there since 6 o'clock. Finally, my wife wasn't feeling good and Paul had to leave to catch a midnight showing of Star Trek with me. They got up to go and Paul was trying to get someone to tell them how much they owed for the drinks and apps. But the producers tried to stop them and get them to wait and have their dinners put in doggy bags. Well, maybe not the producers, I guess the people who run the restaurant. The waiter and the bartender were confused, and the bartender said, "Oh, I didn't know you were here for dinner." At that point, my wife exploded and screamed, "Why do you think we were sitting here for 3 hours?" and said a few other things before Paul got her to go. The waiter said the drinks and the apps were on the house. Once outside, my wife was very upset with herself, not wanting to be angry like that, but they pushed it too far. But Paul said, "Hey, if anything, you know we'll be on TV now." When the show is finally on, we won't know. We don't know, but I guess in the fall. But I'll let you know when it happens. It should be a good one. I only wish I was there. As Ramsay says, we were gobsmacked from the Predator.